Welcome to the Grueling Truth Cincinnati Bengals weekly show, sponsored by Gridiron Mo, a new interactive football app where you get to call what you think the offense or defense will do in a live NFL football game and see what all other fans have called also. So make sure you check out Gridiron Mo at www.gridironmo.com. We are at week 4. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in my co-host, former Cincinnati Bengal linebacker, number 58, Joe Kelly.
Hey, what's going on, Mike? It was tough,
not much.
Tough week, man. Tough week. I really thought that we would rebound from the Pittsburgh game, but unfortunately, we're still. We didn't play bad the entire game, but we had too many mental errors and we had too many breakdowns. I think we played well in spots. We stopped the run, but then we make this rookie quarterback, Mike. Look, Tom Brady-ish.
Oh, you could have thrown a number 7 on him. You'd have thought it was 1987, and it was John Elway.
John Elway, man. It was disappointing. I was very disappointed, especially in our defensive back play. We gave up too many big plays, and I think when you look at the amount of touchdowns and you look at the amount of plays over 40 yards, I think in three games, Mike, I think we've given up as many long balls as we did the entire year last year.
Well, and the thing is, I would have expected it the week before against Pittsburgh, but we didn't really give up too many long plays there. But, Denver gets, 3 or 4 of them in one game.
And to me, their wide receivers are NFL quality wide receivers. They make plays. But that being said, Mike, they're not in the I don't think they're on the same playing field with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, those guys have so much speed, and we didn't allow those guys to get behind us. And Sunday, we got beat, and we got beat bad twice. That literally cost us the game.
Well, see, and the thing that's really looked different to me this year from the previous few years, especially last year, is this team looks like they're playing with very little intensity. There's very little emotion out there. My question in the long run is, did that playoff game last year kind of take the heart from this team?
I don't think so, Mike. I think when you look at Burfict is obviously one of the best inside middle linebackers in the National Football League. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. He plays with some fire. He plays with some enthusiasm. And I think he is that guy that they look for. Sometimes you'll see Dunlap is another guy that's pretty fiery, pretty emotional. But Dunlap hasn't been given his team that. A lot of times when you look at the defense, you look at their play, and you're not getting the pressures. You're not getting the sacks. There's other areas, Mike, that you can pick your team up. Emotionally, you be an emotional leader. I don't look for 97 Geno Atkins to be that rah-rah guy. That's not what he is.
No, he's a leader by example.
By example. But you need that. This is defense. It's tough to win in the NFL. But you look at it and their play is so lackadaisical. You're not showing any emotion, and when you look at our matchups against Denver, matchup-wise, we should be able to beat those guys. But when you really take a step back and you look at the teams, Mike, you look at we didn't have Burford, Reggie Nelson's experience.
Yeah, that's a big loss, I think.
It's a huge loss. I think the two young safeties have the potential to play a lot better, but this is the early part of the season, and I think we are missing that experience from a safety position, and as a result, you've seen blown assignments, you've seen blown coverages, you've seen safeties are not supporting the run in the proper gaps. You've seen that, and that's a result of 36, his first time starting. There's going to be you're going to have to take the lumps of a young guy, a young player. Loka, no, he started before, but he missed some games last year due to injuries, and I think he's getting back. So they're both young, as far as experience is concerned, and I think unfortunately it's showing on Sundays.
Yeah, I mean they just need to quit losing to the Denver Broncos because they got Mark Cooper, who used to play for the Broncos, gives me all kind of hell on that pick'em show, Joe.
Yeah, I bet he did. I bet he did, man. I bet he did.
He's been texting me since the last 2 minutes of that game up until last night's show. I'll tell you, it gets old. So, I mean, we need to get Denver to the playoffs and beat them. But that brings us to this week. We are playing, actually, on Thursday night. The Miami Dolphins head into Paul Brown Stadium to take on the Bengals, both teams 1-2. I think the big key here, as it always is, control of the interior line. And, I mean, Mike Pouncey, their starting center, hasn't practiced since August. He's been ruled out. Backup center Anthony Steen has been the starter the last 3 weeks, is listed as doubtful with a knee injury. So that leaves an 8-year veteran, Craig Urbick, who has only made 50 starts in those 8 years, up against Geno Atkins.
Yeah. We have to start going into these games, and we have to win the matchups that we're supposed to win. And right now, as a team, overall, we have not been winning the matchups that we should win. You go in and Geno should dominate inside. Petco should dominate. Dunlap should dominate. So we look at that. Those guys have to step up, Mike. Especially those guys now, they're experienced, they're veterans. So they don't have excuses as to why they're playing so lackadaisical, lacking emotion, lacking fire. I'm just hoping we use that 55. 55, Burfict is in there, man, and he's bringing that fire. He's bringing that chip on his shoulder. He's bringing that swag back. Because we haven't been out there. Your defensive guys they're flying around. They're fiery guys, and you haven't seen that. You haven't seen us walk on the field with a swag, knowing that hey, we're gonna make some stops, we're gonna make some plays. We're just out there. We're going through the motions, Mike, and as a result, man, you're giving up chunks. You're giving up huge plays, man, and it is definitely been a situation where at times our defense could carry our offense when the offense wasn't running the ball well, when they weren't making first downs. There's things that defensively we could have done in order to assist the offense, and vice versa. Defense wasn't playing well. There's things and drives, and you have A.J. Green, our star, dropping pass right in his hands. There's no excuse for that. It happened. It happens, and I think they got to get together, Mike, and they got to realize they are definitely in control of their destiny. They have to go out, and when they play teams like the Miami Dolphins, who I think we have many advantages as far as matchups offensively and defensively, we should be able to take advantage of and get our second victory.
Yeah, and like I said, I think the big key is what Atkins can do with their third-string center, and really what Ndamukong Suh can do with Russell Bodine, which scares the hell out of me too.
Yes, that's going to be scary. That's going to be scary because Ndamukong Suh he's a man child. I don't think he's been playing as dominant as he was when he was at Detroit, but he's still Ndamukong Suh. And pound for pound, man for man, he still is a man child. And Mike, we're not looking tough. We're not looking tough up the middle, man. We're not looking tough. I think our offensive line. I still think 70 is struggling. So
I think right now, Joe, even Whitworth has screwed some stuff up. I think they're all struggling right now. We did run the ball better last week, and the one good thing coming into this is the Dolphins are worse than the NFL against the run. They're allowing almost 150 yards per game on the ground. Even Cleveland, who had very little passing game and a lot of new faces on the offensive line, ran for 169 yards on them and averaged 5.3 yards a carry. So I think this is a game where the Bengals do need to run the ball, but I think what they ran into last week is it seemed like when they got successful running the ball, they went away almost completely from even trying to throw it.
Yeah, it's you look at that, and I'm in the stands, and I'm trying to understand what Zampese's mindset is. Because you like I said, you have success in a certain area, and then you go away totally from other strengths that you have. And I don't know, man. I think with him being the first year taking over for Hugh Jackson, unfortunately, Mike, I think right now, man, we're in that curve, man. We're in that turn, and we're trying to find our identity. Defensively, we have a new safety. We have some new linebackers, in there. Offensively, we don't have Eifert. We lost Sanu. We have Boyd. I just think those guys are still out there, and they're trying to get over the hump. They're trying to find themselves. They're trying to find. Andy is trying to get comfortable with who he can, throw the ball to. With Marvin Jones the last 3-4 years, he knew he could throw it out there and Jones would go get it. He knew that Sanu would make those tough catches. And right now, I don't see that confidence in him spreading the ball like he has the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, you see him doing a lot where he's looking at A.J. Green again, which he did a few years ago. I think Uzama, the tight end, has played well. Tyler Boyd makes some plays here or there, but, I think people really underestimate the loss of Marvin Jones right now.
Yeah.
And Tyler Eifert being out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that casting a shadow because I think Boyd, up to this point, I think Boyd is totally capable of being as good and his numbers and producing as well as Jones has the last couple of years. But we don't have that third option. We don't have Eifert, and Eifert is one of the best tight ends in the league. So when you lose a weapon like that. 87 is doing well. He's playing well in spots, but he's dropping the ball. He's made some had some drops at crucial times and crucial drives, and you don't see that from Eifert. So unfortunately, I don't think Eifert is going to be back this week. But my opinion, you let that kid get healthy. Let's get healthy. It's a long season. I don't think. I'm not even though I'm a little down, Mike. I'm not pressing the panic button. I see. Pittsburgh had a bad loss. I definitely know that we're better than Baltimore, so I'm not worried about Baltimore. But when you're looking around the AFC, you don't want to get so far behind Denver and New England. We definitely don't want to fall in a position where we're 1-4, 1-3 rather. So we have to get some wins. You have to.
Yeah, and they have to win this one because if they don't, you're sitting at that 1-3. And if you're going to New England and you're 2-3, you got some problems.
You got some problems, and an ugly win. We can get an ugly win. I don't care about a good loss. Man, we need an ugly win. If this has to be that game where we get that ugly win, that's what we need to do. We have to go out and definitely you in this league, Mike. The teams that are playing in January. Those are the teams that are winning the games that they're supposed to.
Yeah, you read my mind because we also come up, if you remember, over these last 4 or 5 years, almost every Bengals team starts off 5-2, 6-2, 8-0 last year, and it seems like they don't finish strong. I mean, the
yeah.
teams that go to the Super Bowl, I mean, Denver had problems middle of the season last year. I mean, look at all the years the Indianapolis Colts with Peyton Manning would start off 10-0 and get beat in their first playoff game. Exactly. I mean, you don't want to peak too early either, but we don't want to lose so many games where it doesn't matter if we peak late or not.
Right. You know, but I think that the ideal situation is getting healthy. You have to get healthy. Allow Eifert to get healthy. You know, we got to get Burfict. Burfict's been out. He didn't play the preseason. You know, hadn't played the first 3 games. So conditioning is definitely going to be an issue. I think conditioning for 58 Malaluga. I think he still is not in shape. And I think 55, 58, 58 plays a lot better when 55's in there, and like you said, the whole defense plays better when 55's in there. But
it's kind of like having a bad basketball team, and Michael Jordan or Larry Bird shows up to play on the team. The team all of a sudden becomes a lot better because they give everybody around them more confidence.
Yeah, it helps, and I think without Burfict, it looks like Ray just plays with a lack of confidence, you know, and it's just indicative when you're looking, you know, the way he plays. You know, he's played better. You know, from the last week, I thought he played a little better this week. But you know, we have to go in there, Mike. We have to go in there with a solid game plan. We definitely have to. I was concerned because I did see a report. I don't know if you see this report the other day in regards to Kevin Coyle. There were some rumblings.
Yeah, where some DBs were mad at him or something.
Yeah, and you know, it's actually came from Miami. So you look at that, I think that could be concerning.
Yeah. And also, I want to bring up the fact that I'm sorry I brought up Jordan and Bird and didn't bring up Magic Johnson. I know you're an LA guy.
Yeah, right. Right. Little Kobe. Throw a little Kobe action in there.
Hey, before we get to the pick, what about them Washington Huskies? Can they win it all this year?
Oh, Mike, you know what? You when you have special seasons, you go in and I knew those guys going down to Arizona, going down in the desert and playing in a little heat, playing at night, you know, traveling down there, still a relatively young team, that this could be one of those games where trap games where you can go down and you're riding high and you think you're better than you are and you lose. But those guys came out, man. Unfortunately, I mean, it went to overtime. But the big thing and the best thing, they came out with a victory. And Friday night, Husky Stadium is gone.
Yeah, they play Stanford this week, don't they?
Stanford Friday night, man. And the way it's set up, it's kind of tough because I think these are the 2 top teams in the Pac-10.
Yeah.
You know, and unfortunately, the loser of this game could win out, and the winner wins out. But they won't get a chance to play each other in the Pac-10 championship, and they can potentially one could be undefeated, one can have 1 loss, and the other side, those guys can have 3 or 4 losses.
Yeah.
So it's tough. This is you know, especially for UW regaining you know, that being one of the top teams in the Pac-10 and getting out the cellar of the Pac-10 North and you know, get out of that 3rd, 4th place that we've been in for a while, and the way I'm looking at that team, man, it's I definitely know that we better finally be able to beat Oregon. We've lost to Oregon, I think, 12 years in a row, something like that. That's definitely you know, tough, but we have to get by Stanford on Friday, and hey, you never know, Mike. You never know. You know, we could be playing in one of those special bowls at the end of the year.
Now, by special, you don't mean like the Chick-fil-A bowl, right?
Oh no. No.
I remember the Poland Weed Eater Bowl, the Poland Weed Eater Independence Bowl. You remember that one, Joe?
Oh man, there are so many bowls and so many different names. You know, you just kind of lose track of them. And you know, it's this thing, Mike, where you're looking at competitive sports, and whether or not it's football or other sports, where everybody gets a trophy, and everybody gets this thing for participation.
Yeah, I hate
and
that.
it's like in football in college, everybody goes to the bowl game. I think it's BS.
Yeah, I think it should be 16 teams, like almost every other division of college football does. Take the best 16, let them play it out, have it done before Christmas, even.
Oh yeah, You go to a playoff. I think there's a way that you can have a viable playoff and reach something, an actual national championship where you win, just like the NFL playoffs. But the bowl games, and you say, hey, you did well, and then you got to the bowl games. Now you can be 6-6, and get beat.
Yeah, and you get to play in the Idaho Potato Bowl.
Yeah. So it takes some of the pizzazz and the shine off of a bowl season because of how it's set up. That's just my
yeah, but the problem was you got so many NCAA bigwigs that want to take all those trips and get all those payoffs from all those bowls that that's probably never going to change.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of money, Mike. A lot of money passes hands.
Yeah, and they'll use the excuse that they don't want the kids missing that much class. But NCAA tournament, NCAA basketball, you miss even more class. And like I said, if you ended the season at the start of November and had a 16-team playoff, heck, you're done by the second week of December.
Yeah, you could. There's a really viable option.
Well, look at what used to be formerly the 1AA, the FCS, I think they call it now. I mean, they've got a 32-team playoff, and they're done the second or third week of December.
Yeah. So it could be done, and it could be done without the college kids having to play 14, 15 games. Like you said, there's a seeding. Obviously, just like the NFL, the first seed, second seed, and things of that nature, and top teams have a bye. There's ways to do it, rather than because you're still, even with the way it's set up, Mike, you're still potentially going to have 2-3 teams that are left out of the championship. You have these guys, you have somebody at SEC go undefeated, somebody at Pac-10 go undefeated, somebody at Big 12 go undefeated, in these major conferences, who's to say who should go in the national championship game? So
yeah, the difference used to be between 2 and 3. Now it's between 4 and 5.
Yeah.
If you're 5, you're left out.
Yeah. So it's tough, man. But I'm just excited, Mike, that my alma mater, man, UW. I'm just excited, man, that we're in the conversation. Mike, we haven't.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, since Don James retired, I don't think they've been in the conversation, have they?
No, we haven't been in a while, man, since the '90s. Unfortunately, and it's unfortunate because Mike, I'm actually headed back there October 21st. For the Oregon State game where they're inducting our entire 1985 Orange Bowl team that beat Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl.
And should have been the national champions.
Yes.
You ought to beat the hell out of BYU.
Yes, we would have. So,
they had a hard enough time beating. Hey, people forget BYU's bowl game, the Holiday Bowl that year, which they were locked into because of being in the WAC. They played a Michigan team that was 6-5, I believe, in that game, and that team a few weeks earlier got completely destroyed by Ohio State. Yeah.
I mean, we went into Michigan that year when Michigan was ranked. I think when Michigan was ranked, they were highly ranked. They're in the top 5. I think higher than that. But we beat them, and it was a comfortable margin. And I know most of the fourth quarter, they got their points toward the end of the game, against some of our freshmen and our backup players. But we have beat Harbaugh and those guys convincingly down there. And even in that bowl game, Mike, Robbie Boscow last second.
Yeah, he led a last second drive to win the game.
Yeah. To win the game, on a great pass, great catch, but it still sucks It sucks 30 years later that we woke up that morning. We were just confident that we would at least get a share of the national championship, because had Oklahoma beat us,
Oklahoma would have got it.
Yeah, majority of 80% of the people who were polled said they were gonna, they would vote for Oklahoma over BYU, and we beat Oklahoma convincingly.
Oklahoma's the sexy pick. You got Barry Switzer, you got the Boz.
The Boz, Casillas. Yeah, so it was fun. It was fun beating those guys. It was kind of arrogant, man. But I'm just glad, man. UW is they're in the conversation, and the stadium is an awesome stadium. Their amenities, their locker room and their weight room. I go down and it's just like, oh my God, it doesn't compare. So they had to definitely upgrade the facilities, really based on what Oregon. University of Oregon and then Phil Knight has done down there in Eugene. Down in Eugene is just absolutely incredible what they've done with Autzen Stadium and their facilities, and then their uniforms. So, I think that was a big reason, Mike, why there was such a drastic change, because against Oregon, I know I beat Oregon in all 4 years. They were always in the middle of the road, always had a decent team. But once Phil Knight came in and he redid that, and he gave them all those fancy uniforms, the kids were, the talent. They wanted to go play with those fancy uniforms, and as a result, Oregon became the power in the Pac-12.
Yeah, Oregon was like Northwestern was in the Big 12 there, Big 10 dang near back then. Neither one of them won too many games, because I remember it was a big deal when Oregon would get to a Freedom Bowl and be 7-5.
Yeah, that was a great year for Oregon. The Ducks.
Hey, Bill Musgrave was the quarterback on that team.
Yeah, Bill was. We had I committed to Oregon, Mike. Believe it or not, I committed to Oregon, and thank God, when I woke up the day of signing, something said, boy, are you crazy? You better go up to UW. And I changed my mind.
I'll tell you what, though, I loved Oregon's uniforms back in the 80s with the yellow helmet and the O with the duck on it. That was cool, I thought.
Yeah.
I used to love to watch Oregon play, or Arizona State with the Devils on their helmet. I always thought that was cool, too. Yeah. But, all right, we got to get back to this Bengals-Dolphins game. Who you picking?
Mike, I'm going, even, seems like, hey, I'm being a fan, I'm going with the Bengals, but I'm definitely this would be a horrible loss. I see us dominate. We are definitely head above heels better than Miami, and I think we're better than Miami in all facets, offensive, defensively, special teams. I think we should do well. I think we should do well in all three aspects, and I think we should be able to run on these guys. I think we should be able to pass on these guys. I think our D-line should dominate, and definitely our DBs should have a comeback game and make up for some of the big plays they gave away last week. So Mike, I'm looking at a 35-14. Yeah, if that close. I think our offense can score. I think we can move the ball, and I'm excited. I'm excited to get that second win and get back on track.
All right. I'm going to go Bengals 24-13. I think the Bengals will be able to run the ball on them. If Ryan Tannehill burns our secondary, then we've got serious problems anyways. And I'm thinking during the game, maybe it's time for Darius to play. I don't know about you, Joe.
Hey, Mike, if your guys are giving up plays like that, and your best guys, I don't see us doing it right now. But if you're coming into going into that 8th week, and we're sitting at 4-4 or 3-5, as a coach, I'm going to light some fires under some of these veterans' buttons. I'm going to insert a young guy and say, hey, if you guys are not going to get it done, let me see what my young guys can do, because I can always, bring them up and see how they do, and if they don't, if it's overwhelming for them and they don't perform well, I can always put them back on the practice squad.
And I'll tell you, the the thing that's getting scary, though, Joe, you look at the schedule. It's all of a sudden become a lot harder than what people thought it was, because the Giants, I think, are a lot better than what they were or what people thought they were going to be. The Ravens are undefeated. You still got to play them twice. You still got the Steelers. The Philadelphia Eagles, which, 2 weeks ago, you're marking that down as an easy W.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer.
Yeah, and then the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, we play Dallas after Miami in Dallas, then we go to New England.
Dallas. Yeah. I'm actually going to the Dallas game, so I'll be there, man. And I don't know, Mike, if you have you been at Dallas Stadium?
No, my wife doesn't let me out of the house, Joe.
So
I always get lost.
It's a sight. It's a sight to see, man. It's definitely a sight to see, man. It's
you just don't make sure you're not at the top of that place. You just have to watch it on these big screen TVs. Then.
Hey, I went and I watched the Wisconsin-Alabama game, and literally that screen is so huge. I had to quit. I had to stop myself from continuously just watching the game from the Jumbotron because it's that massive. And I'm just like, you're not even watching, looking on the field. So I'm trying to force myself to watch the action on the field because that Jumbotron, it expands from the 120 to the other 20. And they have the Jumbotron on each end of the massive Jumbotron too, so you can see the Jumbotron is actually on all four sides. Which is amazing sight, man.
I remember when everybody was excited at Riverfront Stadium had one that set up in the corner that was like 10 feet wide. But
oh wow, yeah, that was something.
Yeah, that was cool then. Yeah. I think it was late '80s.
Yeah. Late '80s, yeah.
But, those were times were good when we won playoff games. But all right, Joe, we're going to have to get out of here. I know you're going to Vegas in the morning, so be careful on that trip.
Will do.
Yep, and next week you guys can catch us as we hopefully review the Bengals beating of the Dolphins, and then we will preview the Bengals against the Cowboys in Jerry's World, which Joe will be there to give us some live reports, right, Joe?
Yeah, that'll be awesome, Mike. We can set it up. We can set it up, man, and it'll be interesting. But we definitely got to go in there and get a win.
All right. Any final words, Joe?
Well, Mike, it's just, with the Bengal Nation, Bengal fans, don't panic. I know the Bengal fans, a lot of, I would say fair weather fans jump off the bandwagon early and get to talk about changing quarterbacks and fire Marvin and all those things. But right now, I don't think we're in a situation. We're not in panic mode. I think we have some young guys, some young players on both sides of the ball. Offensive linemen, got some young guys in there. Tight end, young guy. Wide receivers, young guy. Our defense, our safeties. Those are young guys, and we have Burfict back. We'll have Eifert back for that Cowboy game, and I think they're going to start seeing some remnants, man, of how we looked last year. Bengal Nation, just stay positive, man, and still support that orange and black, man, and I think we'll be okay.
All right, Joe, sounds good. So, guys, make sure you check us out at Grueling Truth on Twitter. You can also listen to all the shows on iHeart, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, Google Music. Anywhere you find sports podcasts, you'll find the Grueling Truth. So, for Joe Kelly, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.